Our planet is in constant motion. It rotates around its axis at 1670 kilometers per hour and revolves around the sun at 107,000 kilometers per hour. But what if our Earth suddenly stops spinning? In this video, you'll find out what happens if the Earth stops spinning. What will happen to the oceans, atmosphere, and gravity? How long will it take for day and night to return to normal? And most importantly, can people survive if the Earth stops spinning? Ready, let's go! In the first few hours after the Earth stops spinning, all water will be drained from the equatorial regions, which are closest to the sun. This means that many coastal cities, including New York, Miami, London, Tokyo, and Sydney, will be left without water. At the same time, water will begin to accumulate at the poles. But even this won't be the worst consequence. The thing is that our planet has an ozone hole at its south pole. It's a thinning of the ozone layer, which protects Earth's surface from the sun's ultraviolet radiation. As soon as the Earth stops spinning, the ozone hole will start moving towards the North Pole together with the South Pole. And when it reaches its new location, all living things on Earth will be exposed to deadly ultraviolet rays. However, this is not the only change that will occur in the atmosphere. Since the Earth will no longer rotate, there will be no Coriolis effect deflecting airflows. That is, winds will lose their direction and the weather will stop changing. There will be no more storms, rains, or snows. Moreover, the Earth's atmosphere will become thinner. When our planet rotated, its centrifugal force caused it to bulge at the equator. That is, Earth was wider at the equator than at the poles. Due to this, the Earth's gravity was slightly lower at the equator than at the poles. But if the Earth stops spinning, these forces will disappear. Consequently, the Earth will become flatter, and the gravitational pull will be felt equally in all parts of the planet. And it will also affect satellites orbiting Earth. They will either fall to the planet's surface or move further away from it. But these changes will not affect one process that occurs on Earth. Volcanoes will continue to erupt because they are powered by heat coming from the planet's core. However, there is a chance that the eruption frequency will increase since tectonic plates will redistribute, and it's all because of gravity. If the Earth stops spinning, the crust will sag a little in the middle, and this will lead to an imbalance of the tectonic plates. As a result, earthquakes and volcanic eruptions will occur more often. But the consequences of the latter will be different. Volcanic ash and gases will no longer be carried away by the winds, and therefore, the ash will cover large areas in a thick layer, which will cause global climate change. In turn, this will lead to extinction events similar to the one that happened 66 million years ago. Then the asteroid that fell to Earth caused not only a climate change, but also a shift in the Earth's axis by 30 degrees. This led to the extinction of dinosaurs, but gave rise to mammals. Will we be able to survive if the Earth stops spinning? Yes. We will have every chance to survive, but only in the equatorial region. The fact is that the sun's rays will fall on this area most often. That is, the temperature there will be much higher than at the poles, where an ice age will occur. So those who don't freeze will die of heat, but even that won't be the worst thing. When the Earth stops rotating, the length of day and night will change dramatically. For the first 3 months, each hemisphere will experience 6 months of daylight followed by 6 months of darkness. Day and night will last twice as long as usual. And during this time, the planet will completely cool down or heat up. That is, the climate on Earth will change dramatically. It will take about 2 or 3 months for the Earth to adapt to its new position. After that, the length of day and night will return to normal, but this will not happen gradually. Scientists believe that the Earth will spin again only in 40 million years. That is, we will not live to see this, but this period of time will not be entirely uneventful. Within 20,000 years, our planet may collide with another celestial body. This could be a minor planet or comet, and if it falls to Earth, it will destroy everything in its path. The Earth's rotation also affects the duration of our year. The fact is that our planet's orbit is not circular, but slightly flattened. And the Earth's rotation makes it move faster in some sections than in others. Because of this, the duration of a year is 365 days and 6 hours. And the extra 6 hours are compensated by the 6th day in a leap year. If the Earth stops spinning, these 6 hours will no longer be necessary to compensate for the difference. The year will become 365 days long. It sounds like a trifle, but the Earth's rotation also affects the shape of our planet. Due to centrifugal force, the Earth's equator bulges by about 21 kilometers. If the Earth stops spinning, it will become a bit flatter. But this is not the only consequence that will affect the planet's shape. Under the influence of solar radiation, the Earth's atmosphere will begin to drift away from the planet's surface. As a result, the upper layers of the atmosphere will reach the Lagrange point. This is the distance from the Earth at which the gravitational and centrifugal forces of the planet are balanced by the Sun's gravity. At this point, any object will remain in orbit around the Earth without additional effort. And although the atmosphere doesn't have mass, it will still be visible to us as a thin shell around the planet. But will the Earth still have a magnetic field if it stops spinning? No, it will not. The Earth's magnetic field is partly generated by the rotation of our planet. This is known as the geodynamo effect. When the Earth stops spinning, this process will slow down. As a result, the magnetic field will weaken significantly. And this will not only affect people and animals, it will also affect the plants. The weakening of the Earth's magnetic field will lead to an increase in cosmic radiation, which will destroy DNA cells. That is, the Earth will experience a real apocalypse. In addition, the weak magnetic field will not be able to protect the Earth from space debris. All of it will fall to our planet, destroying cities and causing large fires, but even this is not the worst. Solar wind will also begin to destroy the Earth's magnetic field. This is a stream of charged particles that emanates from the sun. When the Earth stops spinning, it will not be able to break the solar wind, and therefore, it will rush through our planet's weakened magnetic field and destroy it completely. As a result, the Earth will turn into a magnetic field with a reversed polarity. That is, the north will become south and vice versa. But it will not be entirely terrible if the Earth stops spinning. On the contrary, this will benefit those countries that are now located far from the sun. For example, Norway and Finland will get much warmer and can be used as bases to grow crops. But will it be worth cultivating fields on a dying planet? Even if humanity manages to survive the consequences of the Earth stopping spinning, it will have to deal with a serious problem. The planet will not be able to maintain its balance. And I'm not talking about the redistribution of tectonic plates. Earth's rotation creates centrifugal force, which makes our planet wider at the equator. This force must be balanced by the gravitational force, which pulls everything towards the center of the Earth. If the Earth stops spinning, the balance will be disturbed. As a result, one hemisphere will slowly begin to drift away from the sun, and the other will move closer to it. This will lead to a new climate change and a new extinction event. But perhaps this will become the impetus for the development of a new theory of our world. After all, the fact that the Earth constantly moves is a fundamental principle of modern physics. If we abandon this postulate, we will have to look for a new way to describe our world. Maybe then scientists will finally be able to determine what lies beyond the observable universe or how the Big Bang happened, but maybe I'm expecting too much from them. Even if the Earth stops spinning, scientists will continue to argue about what came first, the chicken or the egg. Well, you've got to admit it's funny. Our Earth just keeps spinning and we keep wondering what will happen if it stops. But don't worry. You should not be afraid that the Earth will suddenly stop spinning. According to scientists, this can happen only when our star turns into a red giant. It will expand so much that its hot plasma will reach Earth's orbit, and our planet will simply burn out along with all living things on it. But this will happen only in about 5 billion years, and you and I will hardly live to see that. And if the Earth stops spinning for some reason before that, we will have enough time to adapt to the new conditions. But tell me, would you like the Earth to stop spinning? Leave your answer in the comments and subscribe to the channel. We still have many interesting videos up our sleeves.